It's where all the cool kids go. The friendly alcohol will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Shadows, t-shirts, weather tees, and so much more. Tags on deck, horror shop you will never want to leave. Your friendly info will show you around. We reward him with the fresh souls of our customers. Candles, t-shirts, weather tees, and so much more. Deadites on deck, horror shop you will never want to leave.
Hanging around with Dick. So many movies, which one to pick? Exploitation overload, crazy comedies, kung fu fun, horror by the pound. Hanging around with Dick. So many movies, which one will you pick? Hanging around with Dick. So many movies, which one will you pick? Will you pick?
Howdy, gang, and welcome to this week's edition of Dick's Picks. I'm live this time. Won't have to do any edits, hopefully. The last one might have confused people because my hair is just, sorry about that, folks. It's just crazy tonight. But I'm not going to worry about that. Yeah, it's right. Say Black Deep Throat. Damn, Daner. Hope that Steve doesn't find out you watched that. Here's something real funny about that X-ray is Steve actually downloaded it for me so that I could watch it. But I'm going to get into a little more detail about it. But needless to say, I don't envision myself watching this movie ever again. I was mainly watching it for this stream. So, if y'all will excuse my hair, I'm going to go ahead and get some. Hey, the poet. I'm going to get some housekeeping. Yeah, I'm not kidding, X-Ray. He did. I asked him to because I couldn't find it anywhere. You'd be, well, you probably wouldn't be surprised, but I told him that he'd be surprised what happens when you put Black Deep Throat into YouTube. I didn't even think YouTube allowed some of that stuff that, I saw screenshots for. But anyways, seriously, you should ask him sometime. Um, I know we don't really do that many streams or anything together, but Steve did do a childhood nightmares with me recently where we talked about Salem's Lot, the original Salem's Lot miniseries. But in any event, I'm going to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way, and then we're going to get to these movies, and I'm going to give my rating and all that good stuff. But we've got a new cannon fodder coming up tomorrow night, barring, any severe thunderstorms or me getting sick or anything like that. Lord, I hope not. I hope not on either of those cases. My ear is stopped up again, so I hope that I don't seem like I'm screaming at you, guys and gals. but I'm going to be covering Hospital Massacre, aka X Ray, and Private Popsicle, which I'm thinking has to do with those lemon popsicle movies. Um, so that's going to be tomorrow night. Hopefully, I'll be able to start at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thursday will be the rescheduled. They're all messed up that I had to burn the midnight oil at work last Thursday, so I didn't get to that one because I was wiped out, and also I didn't have time to watch the movies. But I will be covering Slaughter Hotel and the Zodiac Killer. So be sure to tune in for that as well. Um, Friday, I'm hoping to have a Friday Foolish with Candace. We haven't worked out all the details yet, but hopefully we'll be able to do one. And if so, that'll be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. So be sure to keep your eyes and ears out for that one. Got a couple of watch alongs coming up this weekend. Um, let's see, what are the watch alongs? Can't even remember. But you guys and gals voted on them. Um, so I don't have them added yet. Dang it. Okay. Um, April 19th and 20th. That's Saturday and Sunday. So House on Sorority Row is Saturday's offering starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And the initiation is Sunday's watch along, also starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. So we're going to have a bunch or a couple of college slashers for your enjoyment, and you guys and gals picked them. There's a new poll or new couple of polls up for the next time I do watch alongs, and be sure to get in on that. And also Friday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we are going to have a special. Um, oh, did I say 19th and 20th? Yeah, is that right? Oh, I can't keep anything straight. But anyway, yes, I think we're having watch alongs this weekend. But I'm having a bonus watch along for 1980s prom night starting at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday. And there might be some extra goodies thrown in here and there along the way. You just make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like if you like all this stuff that I'm putting out. And, liking, subscribing, hitting the notification bell, those are all things that you can do that not only support the channel, but cost you absolutely nothing. So, just wanted to let you guys and gals know that too. X-ray, you say deep throat popsicles. You become a freak lately with these movie choices. Yeah, I'm just watching them in the order as they come along. I'm doing the Dick Randall produced stuff. I'm doing Cannon Fodder. I'm doing the Golden Globus era of Cannon Films. I'm doing the slasher films from 1970 to 1989 for They're All Messed Up. The ink X-ray that Steve's perverted tendencies have rubbed off on you. It's possible. It's entirely possible. I've lived with the man for almost 12 years, so it's possible now. It's hard to believe me and Steve have been married though. We've been married over 10 years. It's like, where's the time go? Of course, if you ask him, he might say that, feels like we've been married a lot longer. But also, be sure to go on over to deaditesondeck.com, my horror shop. Tell them Poe sent you. I've got several new designs. I'm going to be adding some more soon. I've got some Poe designs, who is the official mascot of Deadites on Deck, the horror shop. I've also got some Evil Dead Chick and Poe designs. I'm going to soon be putting a Stephen King's World of Horror or The World of Stephen King. Sorry, keep getting that wrong. Um, so The World of Stephen King, and a secret one, or it's secret right now because I haven't actually created it, but I have a germ of an idea. There's also some Lethal Ladies ink designs, some new logo designs for me and Candace's collective selling entity. Yes, the poet. Thank you once again for bringing that up, and I'm going to mention that here in just a second. But head on over to deaditesondeck.com and check out all the new designs, plus, candles, blended teas, tote bags, hats, and I do custom work. So if you're not a horror fan, never fear. You can have me put your kids, your grandkids, you and your significant other, your pets on t-shirts, hats, tote bags, even candles if that's your pleasure. So just fill out the form on the homepage of the shop, and you can let me know what it is that you want me to create for you, as long as it's legal. And I will quote you a price, and if we agree and you pay me, I will be glad to make the product for you. And as the poet so nicely reminded me, we have a movie roulette going on. And what movie roulette is, if you give a $5 super chat or more during any live stream that I do, and that includes watch alongs, you can make me watch any movie of your choosing. Okay. Even one I said I hated in the past, right? So keep that in mind. I've got a movie roulette coming up where the Dead Pit Boys, they gave me $5 a piece. And so they got their pick of movies. CK wants me to do Into the Pit, the Dead Pit documentary. And Uncle Bill's pick was Necromantic 2. So that's going to be on an upcoming one. And then there's going to be another one. Hopefully, somebody else will give $5 and pick another one, because I'm trying to do 2 movies per movie roulette episode. But Menelec uh, shelled out some money, and his pick was Jeepers Creepers. So I'm not only going to be watching Into the Pit again and watching Necromantic 2, but I'm also going to be rewatching Jeepers Creepers as well. So make sure you get in on that, folks. All right. So now that all the housekeeping stuff's out of the way, um, we are ready to get into these movies. So the first one I didn't mind. I honestly didn't mind. Um, so I'm actually going to adjust this here a little bit. I love it that StreamYard's got the ability for us to put images up here now, because OBS was the system that you could do that for the longest time. And when I switched over to StreamYard, which StreamYard had a lot of things that I liked better and that were easier than OBS, for instance, adding people on the streams. But they didn't have the ability to add images to the screen while you were talking. Actually, you say OBS gave me IBS. It may have some people, but now StreamYard has added this ability to the collection of things that it has. So I'm glad to have that. All right, so the first Dick Randall produced movie that I watched this time around was The Real Bruce Lee. And honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I asked Steve if he had seen this after I watched it last night. This one is available on YouTube. Just search for The Real Bruce Lee. Not the version I watched wasn't excellent quality or anything, but it was watchable. Amen, elect. So, um, this is touted as an early Bruce Lee film that they found in some Chinese archives, and it was never seen before. Now, what this actually is part a small part documentary, I guess is what you would call it, on Bruce Lee. But don't be expecting like a complete, hour long documentary on Bruce Lee, because it's not that. What I found interesting about it was they showed some really early films that Bruce Lee was in as a kid, as a very young boy. And I just found that really, really interesting because that was something that I had never seen before. So, those of you that are really interested in Bruce Lee may find that part really interesting. Steve's a huge fan of Bruce Lee, he always has been. Then they talked a little bit about Bruce Lee's death, and Bruce Lee and Dragon Lee are both on this little documentary slash film, because once we get past the Bruce Lee intro stuff, it goes into a movie, and I don't think they tell you what the movie is, but the movie does have Dragon Lee. Um, and we're talking, of course, about the Bruce Lee clones. After Bruce Lee passed away, there were a lot of movies that had the Bruce Lee clones in them. Some of the guys look similar to Bruce Lee. Some of them didn't really look like him at all. Some of them were better at martial arts than others, or more experienced, I guess. Um, but I didn't feel like any of them were really like Bruce Lee. As this movie slash documentary says, there will never be another Bruce Lee. So, the movie that made up the bulk of this film um, was pretty decent. Like I said, it has Dragon Lee in it, fighting off the bad guys. Um, and, I would just like to watch the movie if I knew what it was, just the movie by itself, just for interest purposes on my part. I even asked Steve if he knew what the name of the movie was that was shown in the real Bruce Lee, and he didn't really know either. Um, so that's the real Bruce Lee in a nutshell. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give a rating for the real Bruce Lee. And I think everything included, I could give this a 4 deadites out of 5, because I could definitely see myself going back and watching this again. It actually made me want to learn even more about Bruce Lee than I already do. So if that was its purpose, it it served its purpose well. Okay, so that is the real Bruce Lee. So y'all ready? Y'all ready for Black Deep Throat? Ooh, goodness. Okay. Gonna have to get to it sometime. Okay. So I hope this isn't too naughty for YouTube in any event. This was a poster image that I was able to get off of IMDb. So hopefully it's not anything too risque for YouTube. This is Black Deep Throat. Can't talk. Black Deep Throat. Hey, Blissful. Um, AKA Gola Profunda Nero. And there's other assorted titles. I was not able to find this on YouTube. I tried. Um, Now, this is not a porno, folks. If you want to watch a porno, you'd have to watch the movie Deep Throat. Okay. What this basically has is a lot of people rubbing on each other in certain areas and appearing to do things that could and probably more than likely are done in a porno. But I would not call this a porno. Softcore at best. It does show a guy's balls. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna warn you about that in advance. Okay. So, But it does show a lot of female nudity. So you guys don't worry that want to see that. Including our main lady there, she gets naked at the drop of a hat, basically. And needless to say, again, guys, gals, I'm not a prude. But this was just simply not my cup of tea. Now, that's not to say that it might not be other people's cup of tea. So basically, what you have is our main lady um, is her name's Claudine in the movie, and it did not have an English dub, the version that Steve got. So I was reading subtitles, but they were decent subtitles. They weren't like those crazy auto-generated subtitles that YouTube has from time to time. That just have run-on sentences and don't make any sense. So Claudine, who's the lady you're seeing in the picture there, is a journalist, but she has this weird thing going on with her, and we find out why by the end of the movie. Okay. She has this weird thing that if she hears, I'm guessing it's not all music, maybe it's a certain kind of music, that she has to have sex. So she's in a bar here at one point in the movie, and some music starts playing, and this young guy comes up to her, and he's basically coming on to her. And instead of going with that guy, she sees a sailor in the bar, and she just grabs him and takes him to a hotel room and has sex with him. And she says later that the music makes her mad. She has to have sex when she hears the music. I'm like, I never heard of such a thing, but whatever. Um, but it's a movie. Um, but what she's also wanting to do is, oh, and by the way, the sailor thinks she's a whore. And he says, I'm not going to pay you more than $20. He said, all right, I'll pay you 5 more. And she just puts on her clothes and leaves. He said, hey, you don't want to get paid. Um, so she's also wanting her boss, who this movie lays the sleaze on pretty quickly. Her boss, she's getting ready to go into his office, and he's like undressing one of the other chicks that works for him. And she just comes in there, Claudine just comes in there and says, oh, I hope I'm not disturbing. Like, what the heck? So you got this sleaze almost right off the bat. It's dripping from this movie. So she tells him, once the other girl leaves, she says, I want this story. This guy's got a sex cult. She said, this bastard is like getting him and his cronies together, and they do terrible things to teenage girls. Now, obviously, I'm pretty sure there were no underage girls in this film, but we were supposed to believe that they were underage girls in the film that were being taken advantage of by the sex cult. So she's wanting to go undercover and find out about this so-called director that's head of this sex cult. And I'm like, okay, she's wanting to expose this guy for the awful, horrible person he is, but her boss doesn't want her to take it. He says, let Angelica take this. And I want you to see the guru. And she ends up going to the guru because of her issue with when she hears this music, she's got to have sex. Again, I've never heard of such a thing, but whatever. A movie's a movie is a movie. But so the guru is trying to, keep in mind this is 1977. The guru is trying to get at this memory that she has repressed, that is causing her to do this, to go mad, as she says, when she hears this music. She even comes on to her photographer friend, and he's like pushing her away and stuff. What are you doing? What are you doing? So she ends up going inside this sex cult, and she's wanting to save these teenage girls, these underage girls, from being molested, basically. So, um, but she has another, that memory comes to the surface, and what the memory is of her mother. I don't know if her mother was a whore or this was just a boyfriend or what, but her mother was having sex with a man when she was a young girl. And she's, mama, mama, she's coming looking for her. And the man's like, who is that? And she says, my daughter. And when she comes in the room, when Claudine comes in the room, this grown man throws Claudine on the bed and is going to have sex with her. And the mother's trying to make him stop. And Claudine gets a gun and shoots the guy in the stomach. And all the while, this memory is surfacing because she is seeing this young girl being taken advantage of by these people that in this sex cult that want to have an orgy with her. And she's screaming and flailing about and stuff. And Claudine's memories just explode, and she remembers the whole thing about coming in, seeing her mother with the man trying to molest her, and her killing him. She stumbles outside the building where the sex cult is, and she slits her wrist with a broken bottle and cuts her throat. But evidently, all this stuff is not enough to kill her, and I guess he's really her boyfriend, Paul. He comes to her aid, and he and her friend Angelica. I was never sure if her and Angelica had a lesbian thing going on. I mean, there was lesbian action in this movie too. Um, but Angelica and Paul knew that Claudine was going through something, and they were trying to protect her. So that's why Paul shows up at just the right moment and rescues her and gets her to the hospital. And so that's basically it. She survives that, and I guess she's going to go on to have maybe a proper relationship with Paul now. Um, but, gang, I don't know. Unless you're just really into watching, a woman get naked all the time. And I'm not saying the lady playing Claudine had a nice figure, but it wasn't enough for me to. There wasn't enough of a storyline. It only got serious towards the end of the film. Um, and there was another scene that I thought was sleazy, even though it was supposed to be a father with his daughter, and he was trying to show Claudine what the sex cult had done to his daughter. And they had evidently bitten her on the breast and done other things. And he opens up her shirt, and I'm like, I don't like that. But it was a close up, so who knows? It may have not even been that man in the movie that did that. Maybe, a woman pulled back her top or something. But, Wes, what are you saying about all the time? I don't even know what I said before he came in here and said that, but hey, Wes, anyway. But if this had had more substance, more story, maybe it delved more into why Claudine was the way she was, maybe it would have been more interesting. But I don't think that's what they were going for with this. I think they wanted to go for the sleaze. I think they wanted to go for the flesh and the the sex part of it and stuff like that. That was the whole point, I'm assuming. Um, so you guys and gals probably know that I'm not going to give this that high of a rating. So I'm going to give it 1, possibly 1.5 deadites out of 5. It can't go any higher than that. And, if y'all disagree with me, I mean, that is perfectly fine. If there are those of you that have seen this movie before. Oh, Wes, I had even forgotten WrestleMania was this weekend. That's awful, isn't it? I'm sure Steve knows. But so that is all for this edition of Dick's Picks. I've been on here all told a little over 30 minutes, but these things are never really all that long. But I want to thank all y'all that showed up for this edition of it. Thank you guys and gals that were in the chat. Blissful, Menelect, X-Ray, the Poet, Wes. I'm glad that y'all stopped in. And for those of you that maybe were watching along but didn't feel comfortable getting in the chat, I thank you as well. For those of you that will watch us on the replay, I thank you as well. So I guess that is all from me for tonight. Be sure to tune in tomorrow night for Cannon Fodder. I'm going to be talking about Hospital Massacre, aka X-Ray, and Private Popsicle, which I believe, like I said, is another one of those lemon popsicle movies. And so, as always, this is Jesus Weekend. Yeah, I shouldn't be talking about the stuff I'm talking about since it's Jesus Weekend. You are correct, TJ. But as always, I'm off like a dirty shirt. This shirt ain't dirty, but I'm off like one. And I want to remind everybody, as I always do, before I get off of here for the night, to be kind to one another and blaze that trail. And don't forget to stop on over to deaditesondeck.com, my horror shop, and check out all the new designs and the designs that are going to be coming to the site shortly. And tell them Poe sent you. And I'm out of here, and I'll see everybody next time.